Welcome to All Things Social Security. My name is Stephanie Joy of Joy Disability. I am a Social Security disability attorney, and I would like to invite you to watch our daily video tips on the Social Security disability and SSI claims process each day at the new time of noon Eastern Standard Time here on YouTube on this channel. And on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have our live Q&A live stream. So you are welcome to join that as well. Ask your questions, get there on time, and you'll be one of the first answered. Thanks so much and have a great day. Enjoy the video. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. It is Sunday, the 17th, I can't believe it, of August. So time's flying. School's going to start very soon. Just going to give a lowdown on the Social Security roundup for last week. That would be the day of August 11th through, that would be Monday, August 11th through Saturday, August 16th. Okay, so on Monday, it looks like we had, I'm going to pop this over here so I can see it better. Test number 2 of the trial run of the 1-800 number. It was not as favorable as test number 1, which I think came out a few days earlier than that. So I just described that a little bit in a goofy little manner. And then on August 12th, we had a discussion about obesity and how it's underrated, both by, I think, claimants, representatives, and SSA adjudicators or fact finders, and how you can best use it if you have it to better explain and show the greater limitations you might have, particularly physically, that can bring you closer to being found disabled. It used to be a listing level obesity. Now it's not, but that doesn't mean it can't be used. Because as you know, most things are not listing, and obesity is now one of them, quite a while now, actually, but it can be really helpful. We also had on the 13th a discussion about bankruptcy and the merits of considering it when you're wiped out by disability financially. And some people struggle for years, and they don't give a consideration to bankruptcy. And I just wanted to put it out there because I have heard from almost 100, if not 100%, nearly 100% of anyone I know that found themselves in that position. And for them, bankruptcy was a lifesaver, literally a lifesaver. It just changed the quality of their life forever thereafter. So just something to think about. There are other options, but people seem to be afraid of the big B word, and maybe they shouldn't be. August 14th, we had that must have been Thursday. It was a replay of the Wednesday lunchtime live session, live stream Q&A on all things Social Security. So that replay gets played generally on Thursdays. This one came out a little bit later in the day, not so timely. After we were able to get the software to pull out all of the quiet moments when one is trying to read through the questions and match them up. So we try to get rid of all those. It literally saves like a half hour of time off the video, because that was a long day too. I think we were almost 3 hours long in that live stream. The 15th was Friday, so we had our Friday Fraud Law Review as always, which is also a kind of a commemoration of Red Friday for our deployed soldiers. I try to put them hand in hand, given that they call it Red Friday. And this particular fraud law review on this day was about an 8-year successful fraud scheme by a woman in Missouri who was able to steal her brother's benefits while he was a prisoner for all those years. And then Saturday, the 16th, this was a discussion about fibromyalgia and the fact that there seems to be a vacuum, I suppose I'd say a vacuum, of missing specialists in the fibromyalgia world. And there doesn't seem to be a lot of fibromyalgia literate medical doctors. And I think some of my fibromyalgia people know what I'm saying. There are some, and then there are many who are not. So we discussed that a little bit and what you might be able to do. And so that was Saturday. So that was the week. I hope you guys had a good one. I had a good one. We were finally back in our house after that whole week at the hospital and all that business. So it was nice to get back and try to get back some sense of normalcy. And the weekend's been just fine. And I hope you all are having a good weekend. Have a great rest of your Sunday and have a great next week. Hopefully I'll see you 12 o'clock noon on the recorded video shares that come out each day. And for sure, Wednesday at the live stream Q&A, everyone's welcome. So get in early and plug in your questions, okay? I will talk to you later. Bye, guys. It's still Sunday. Did you miss last week's Social Security Roundup? Not this week that you just heard, but the one prior to that, and want to catch up? I'm attaching it now. Have a great day. Bye. Hello, hello. Happy Sunday. Welcome to the Sunday Social Security Roundup for the week of It was a crazy week. Okay, Monday, August 4th through yesterday, Saturday, the 9th of August. All right, so I was working out of office most of the week. As you know, my husband was having a procedure, so we spent a bit of time in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Some very cool buildings down here in the more perhaps historic section. And the hospital we were at, which was St. Luke's on Ostrom Road, I think it is. Ostrom Drive, I'm not sure. Ostrom something. It's very cool. Very little tiny little streets from back in the day. They have a lot of pictures of things from the 1800s when the hospital was there. And of course, it's very different now, but they do have some of the structures still there. Fascinating. I love history. It is so interesting. And in fact, we keep talking about getting back to Gettysburg. We went in end of 2020 for an anniversary for a few days, first time there, but a lot of things were still closed in terms of things you could go into, some of the old stuff on the battlefields due to COVID, which had been several months before then. But so we got a little bit gypped out of that, but we're thinking about doing it again. So we'll see. I don't know about October though. My hearing schedule might be a little off for that, but we'll see. I don't want to go when it's cold either. So October would probably be the latest I would want to go. All right. So I babble. Let's say Monday the 4th. Okay. This was about Office of Inspector General put out a report after, I guess, accumulating the data from 2019 to 2023, a 5-year period, and it shows the significant deterioration in timeliness at the DDS level, which is where you're all getting your cases adjudicated to see if you're medically disabled, or the delays were just growing longer and longer in handling those claims. It does look like, just as a little teaser, it might be starting to come down. So that's in the reporting on Monday. On August 5th, Tuesday, this was a share about the dilemma when your doctors don't give you a firm diagnosis, but say something is suspected, and you lack a firm diagnosis of something that's really disabling to you, and the effect that can have on your, and will have on your Social Security disability claim. So it's something to definitely be aware of so you can remedy that. I really have to reiterate that when you're self-representing, you do need to see all of your records all the time. I think you could be setting them up perhaps, but you also just need to see them for yourself, because you need to see if that word suspected is in there, or maybe they're going to rule it out, or things of that nature where it's not a firm diagnosis, and find out when it does become a firm diagnosis and what they did to get there, what made it change. Because I have seen full-blown diagnoses not accepted because they've only been suspected. And then the day they become finally, someone like moves a pen, presses a button, and it becomes the actual diagnosis is when the onset date actually starts, because it wasn't diagnosed before then. So it's really troubling. Very, very damaging. Okay, that was, what day was that? Did I say the August 5th? Yeah. All right, on the 6th, it looks like I have some weird notes in front of me. So this was about, oh yeah, we had two on the 6th. One was about, because I was announcing that 6th was the Wednesday, that I couldn't do the live stream because my husband was getting discharged later, a day later than I thought, that we expected. Everything's fine. I just wouldn't be able to get here at 1 p.m. Wednesday for the live stream. So we moved that to Friday, 1 p.m. And so when I was I figured when I was telling everybody, don't come today at 1 p.m. because I have to move it, I added a video to it so that at least for paying attention to that, you got a little something. And it was actually about what happens when the SSA doesn't process the 1696 that you and your attorney have turned in to get your attorney on board so he or she can help you. And this would apply to non-attorney reps also. And how the SS, like if they say something like, well, you have to send in the original signed wet signature of the 1696, and how that is false, and what rule you can follow to show them that that is false by their very own rules. A faxed copy is more than fine. Okay, that was also on the 6th. Came out some other SSA news, and this is about how benefits going forward are all going to be paid electronically. I know most of us do it that way anyway. That became a general rule a few years back, and now I guess it's going to be more universal. This will start end of September, and explains how they're going to be going about doing that. I think because the mailed version, guys, is very unsafe, and it will prevent a lot of the fraud that's happening with checks. I did a Friday fraud law review about a total scam. It was very recent too. I don't even know if it's been published yet on a Friday or if it soon will be, but it was a multi-million-dollar scheme out of the Postal Service a staffer or two had a big, huge scheme stealing checks from the U.S. Treasury, which U.S. Treasury checks are. Social Security checks are written from the U.S. Treasury. Well, yeah, that's who signs off on it, right? And for people that get it in the mail, that would be one of them. I think it might also apply to IRS refund checks. Social Security, IRS, doesn't really matter if you're supposed to be getting money and you don't, and it goes to some bad actor. All right, so then what do we have? Thursday, I was sharing a live test I did on a Monday at 1:21 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to the 1-800 number and how that went. That occurred at the end of July. So it's just kind of like a goofy little share because I know we talk a lot about the 800 number, the delays, the fact that they've actually improved the delays. However, that doesn't mean that every phone call is going to be vastly improved. And I think I mentioned that by the end of what is a second share when I did another test same day, but at a different time, and how far worse it was. So I just sometimes like to do little personal experiments instead of just take people's word for it, right? Yeah. Okay. So August 8th was Friday. So we had the Friday fraud law review. And this one was about a Florida person or persons, men, indicted for $100 million. $100 million. Can I repeat that? Theft of special needs trust funds for the disabled. As you might know, we have special needs trust funds often for disabled people who would lose their SSI, but for certain assets being in a trust fund. A special needs trust fund by definition, a very particular kind of trust fund. We also had on Friday, the live stream Q&A at 1 p.m. because we had to move it from Wednesday for the reasons I stated before. And then Saturday the 9th, that was test number 2 of the 800 number, and how that went down, slid sideways real fast. So I shared that too. I try to do a little recording of when I'm doing it. I'll perfect that eventually one day because I'm not really used to it. And at first I wanted to keep some things not recorded in case there was something confidential, but we'll see how it went. All right, that's it, guys. The week of August 4th, Monday to Saturday the 9th. Hope you all had a great week. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you finish having a great Sunday. And I hope to see you 12 noon each day for a live share on all things Social Security. Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our live Q&A. Everyone's welcome. It's first in, first out. So the first person to ask the question gets the answer first, and so on and so forth. So if you come in late, you might have to wait quite a while as everyone else gets safe and through. As of now, I still kind of stay until the last one's done, even if it means 2.5 hours. But I don't know that I'm going to be doing that forever because sometimes it's just appropriate to get there more on time. Okay. All right. I will talk to you guys later. I hope you have a great week. Bye.